enjoying it. I just don't know why. Like I've never
Yeah.
seen it and it won't come down.
It's a
How have you
vibe.
been?
I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah, it just
I'm
goes.
good. How are you? Thank you so much for making this happen.
Well,
I'm gonna
thank
flick this shit
you,
up.
actually, because you have like a strong, long career. You've been doing this like since 14, and then you come to LA.
Yeah, pretty
How
much. It's been a wild journey.
I love that my New Yorker face is like LA.
I
Ugh.
know. I was like, yeah. I'm looking at moving to Nashville potentially this year, so that'll be fun to experience. But yeah, I've been living in LA for about the last year, so it's been amazing.
Ooh, what are the? I think that let me get my questions out because I guess the typical New Yorker question is, how are you feeling about LA? What do you love about it? What do you hate about it?
I think I think the I think what I brought it down to is the LA experience is dependent on the people that are around you. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think I've been really fortunate with the circle that I've had, and through experiencing American Idol a couple of years back, in you know, getting my foot in the door, kind of in the American space, and especially in LA, meeting a lot of incredible people, and yeah, I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by really great people, creatively and also just like friendships, and so like my latest song, "Lost in LA," which is a bit more of a kind of in the feels snapshot of my time in LA. But it's just very real. I think some days, I think it's just the career as well of being an artist is some days are amazing, and you have a session that's like, oh my gosh, this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, this
Yeah.
song is the one, blah, blah, blah. And then, there's other days where, especially me being from Australia, being a lot really far from my family, not having the luxury of being able to see them every day. And and the doubt sets in, and things may not be moving as fast as I would love them to, career wise. So yeah, it's really ebby and flowy. And I think that's just the industry and the path I've chosen. But I think it's just, those days never stop. I think it's just learning how to manage them better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's a really difficult road that you've chosen, and I was reading about the upcoming EP and the music, and my one of my questions, and I get a little deep, is like, did you feel that the loneliness was an illusion, like kind of like a fear
Mm,
of am I building, am I not making my community, do I really want to make this community, or was it just like straight up loneliness, or just a mirror for fear?
wow. Wow. That's a great question. I think you might be right in the latter of what you said. I think, at the end of the day, I think when I get in those moments, I'm kind of very I'll be real. Sometimes I'm very shielded to like what's actually going on. And I am kind of under a little bit of an illusion that things aren't going anywhere, and this isn't going to work, blah blah blah. But when I really kind of get out of my little hole that I am in those moments, and think about it from a more logical perspective, if I told myself 3 years ago I'd be living in LA and writing songs and doing what I'm doing, he'd be like, "What are you talking about? That's insane." And I think also trusting that I'm doing the right things and I'm consistently learning um, through all of these experiences of living, in a new city. Yeah, so I think you're right. I think the fear and the doubt sometimes can create this illusion of that nothing is happening, even though that may actually not always be the case. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's something that I was thinking about in these past few days. I do singing and acting as well, and
amazing.
I've always been somebody that wants stability, and yet I chose the most unstable career. So sometimes I think that that's it
Yep.
too, of the I really chose inconsistency as a lifestyle, and I'm mad about it.
Yeah, totally. I speak about that a lot with my friends. A lot of my friends that I've met through the industry, and we talk about that. We're trying to create stability in one of the most volatile and unstable industries probably in the world, and
I
so that comes with a lot of challenges. And I think that's one thing I do struggle with. um, you know, is trying to find some stability and some a constant through all of the craziness, you know?
So what is attracting you of Nashville? What do you feel it's gonna bring to you in terms of success, in terms of
Yeah,
storytelling?
yeah.
Why that city?
I think I've had some amazing trips in Nashville, and I think there's a really incredible pop scene that's building there. A lot of a lot of my friends are moving to Nashville. A lot of my best friends really that I've met since being in the States, and I've met through American Idol. Blake Pro and Cabrian and Mary Jo. Like they're a lot of my best friends, and they're all moving to Nashville. And I think when I've been in Nashville, I've written some of the best songs that I have ever. And so I think for me, it's just there's always been this little thing of obviously, the fact that my best friends are also living there and getting the opportunity to live with them for a little bit would be awesome. And I think as well an element of it is there. I feel like though that group of people that are in Nashville is kind of the closest thing that I have to family in America. And so I think that's also a big factor for me is being around those people that feel familiar and the fact that we're all grinding together and we're working towards a goal of being successful artists together is really going to help. But yeah, like I said, in terms of the on the music front, I've some of the people that I've been lucky enough to write with in the songs that I've had coming um really amazing. And so I'm excited to just kind of, you know, experience that for a little bit. I do think that I'll find my way back to LA at some stage, but I think there's always been this little thing of just wanting to see how that would feel for a little bit.
Yeah, and this is why you're also in the right industry because you can do that.
Totally.
Like
Totally.
that this industry is like, you know what? I just feel I should go to Colombia.
Right.
And
And
you're
we're
like,
just gonna
yeah,
do it. Yeah.
oh yeah, write music there. Why not? Like it that's the beauty of it. And also like the nightmare. You're like, what am I doing? Why am I
Yeah.
going to Medellin?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
What am
And
I?
and that's the thing. There's not a lot of industries where you can just do that. So
Yeah.
I'm just kind of mate, I'm 21 and I've got, I have the luxury to be able to just, I'm not really tied to anything. I don't have a wife and kids, so I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
while I can experiencing these things and, seeing new cities and, you know, trying to really just tap into anything and everything I can for the sake of my career, really.
Yeah, you kind of been, do you feel you've been like a nomad in some ways since doing The Voice at 14?
Definitely. I think so. And I had a hometown show a few weeks ago here before I come back to LA next week. And I was kind of saying during that show, I was like, there are moments where I like, it's kind of a bit sappy, but like there are moments where I kind of am like, well, where am I supposed to be? Like where is, I know home is obviously Australia, but there are moments when I'm kind of out in the world and in America and I'm like, hmm, this is kind of strange. I've never really experienced, you know, A, not living at home and B, just kind of, being in different cities and, experiencing new things and new people. And yeah, so it's amazing, but also kind of strange at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, it's a feeling of like full emptiness. Like there's something
Right.
beautiful and fulfilling, and then there are these pockets of like, it would be nice to have a home. You know,
Totally.
it would
And
be.
yeah,
And you have never done your
absolutely.
astrocartography?
What
Have
was
you
that?
have you ever done your astrocartography?
What is that?
That's like so if you put up your birth chart, you can look up where you're is like the best place for you to live on Earth.
Wow. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you could look it up. Maybe after the interview, if we have time, I could look it up for you. It's like you give your birth and then you go to astro.com, you pull up your natal chart and then they have like astro travel section. You click that and usually people try to go where their Jupiter or their midhaven is because your midhaven is where
Wow.
you're supposed to be and your Jupiter is your good luck
Crazy.
or your Venus, which is what love.
I'll have to try that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you just look it up and you see like okay, like Oh, like who knows? Maybe Colombia or something. You learn Spanish and you become like a big star there. But that's always I've
Yeah.
I've moved to locations according to it, and it is true. It is true.
Wow.
Always,
Interesting. Would it
yeah,
be cool to see what it says?
yeah. Maybe it'll give you some guidance. Who knows? Are you gonna do
Why
country
not?
music when you get to
No, no,
You're not.
that's not my thing. So I think, yeah, I've got my lane. I'm gonna stick. I'm not gonna try and dip my toes in country. I don't think I could ever do it justice. Yeah, but the pop scene in Nashville is like, I was really because I was kind of as an Aussie, when you go to America to pursue your dream in music, you go to LA. Like that's just the common belief, like amongst everyone.
Yeah,
And so, when my friend Blake, he was kind of like, you need to come and experience Nashville. There's an insane pop scene here, blah blah blah. I was kind of like anti Nashville. I was like, no, Nashville's country, blah blah blah. Anyway, I went to Nashville and I was genuinely blown away by the stuff that we were making and the writing and the everything. Like, so I was definitely under that kind of mindset of like Nashville's just a country town, really like. But yeah, it's really kind of, I feel like it's definitely evolving into, you know, a bit of just everything really. So it's cool.
yeah. Well, one of my questions was like, what's a story that you would transfer into a pop song? It could be a movie, it could be a history story, anything that you're like, I would retell you if I could in a pop song.
Wow. Like a story, like a real life
Yeah, it
story.
could be anything. It could be any story from history, from children's books.
Yeah, right. It's a good one. Um, you know what? Maybe that like the Hunger Games. I know, like,
Ooh,
I feel like there's a lot of like crazy cool, like Olivia Rodrigo, the song that she brought out, the "You Can't Catch Me Now," like that's a crazy song. I think writing a song like surrounding the Hunger Games or like for the Hunger Games would be like really cool. And I've always been obsessed with those. Like, it's one of my favorite series
you
of all
should
time.
do it because
I know. I feel like I need to.
yeah, because they're gonna do the whole new set of movies.
Yeah,
And now is not like now is the time for like youth and rebellion and like
totally.
F the capital.
Yeah, definitely.
That's actually a really good idea to like pursue.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that would be really cool. That would be a good one, I feel like.
I did want to ask you, and this question was more out of curiosity because you've done now two reality shows, one in
Yeah.
Australia, one in America. Did you find in just observing, and it could have been the difference in age, there
Yep.
were cultural and in industry differences?
Worlds apart. Absolutely. And the age really did, it was a big factor as well. Like you said, when I was on The Voice, I was 14, so I was really young. And it was amazing. And I grew really, 14 is it's a very malleable age. And because of that, I was learning so much so quickly from, the other artists around me and from being in this show. And I felt like my experience of being on The Voice really helped me going into Idol because I'd had that TV experience and I sort of knew what I was getting myself in for. I don't think I was quite prepared to see the level that I saw on American Idol. Just, from the production to it being Luke Bryan, Katy Perry, and Lionel Richie as the judges, just like music legends that I'd idolized since really young, and the talent. Like I've never heard voices the way that I've heard that like the voices that I heard on American Idol. And so I think, you know, as an Aussie coming over to America to want to pursue it, I think the experience of Idol really excited me for my kind of next chapter of my life in living in the US because I'd always known that the US was somewhere I needed to be, especially, LA and Nashville and stuff like that. I knew that's where I needed to be to really make it and kind of break in the industry. And so I think being on American Idol really got me excited for that, just seeing this is really the home of where it all happens, And so it was really cool for me as an Aussie coming over and seeing that, and I loved it. And I think being a little older too really helped me just be able to enjoy it more. And with the friends I have now, it was yeah, so it was really cool.
I think that it's interesting because it kind of runs into my next question. You're surrounded by people that share your dream. What
Right.
do you, and then they're talented and they're unique. What do you think distinguishes people? Is it the creativity or is it the strategy?
I think it's a great question. I think it's like the artistry. I think there's different I think these days in the industry, it's a lot more about what you bring to the table as an artist and what makes you unique. What's your, you know, artistry like as opposed to how talented you are. Like obviously talent is important,
Yes.
absolutely. And people are talented in different ways, in different genres, but I think seeing people's uniqueness and their distinct artistry and what kind of makes them a good artist was something that I really noticed in in those types of shows. You see the people that like you can tell who the art like you can tell who's an artist and who's a singer. Does that make sense? Like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. It kind of feels like what you're saying is a little bit like there's a difference between a song and a story.
totally.
And
Yep,
a story is more an artist than a song.
absolutely. Yep,
Yeah.
100%. And so that's why I strive with my music to tell stories. And I feel like, my newest song, Lost in LA, I think it really I'm proud of that song because I think it does that. It really feels like my purest version of what I've been going through in my story thus far. So yeah, I agree with you fully.
Yeah. I like that. You're making my noggin work. Well, I always wrap up
I love that. Likewise,
I always wrap up interviews by pulling some tarot cards. Would you like some?
sure.
Yeah, because
I've
what
never
I
done this before.
oh my God, I pulled the Knight of Pentacles. So the Knight
Okay.
of Pentacle is about somebody who's kind of moving fast into money opportunities. You know, like when
Wow.
you go to war in medieval times, the first people to go out are the knights. So it's kind of like telling you, go out there. But it's interesting
Wow.
because the next one is the King of Swords. So it's about being really, this is like the smartest card. And these two came together. And the King of
Wow.
Swords is somebody who's very, very smart, very, very strategic.
Cool.
And but then the next two, so you got the Fool in reverse and you got the Four of Cups. The
Mhm.
Fool in reverse, in upright it means new beginnings. In reverse it means a little stuck. And then Four of Cups is all about somebody who's struggling with focus,
Wow.
struggling with feeling, which kind of connects to what you said in Lost in LA,
Yeah.
feeling connected, really struggling with focus.
Mm.
And it's kind of like, I think the advice it's giving you is if you're always going for the money and always thinking about how to make more money, how to make more fame, you won't feel so stuck and so numb.
Wow. Yeah.
So, like, it's almost like saying the advice to you is catch your thoughts.
Yeah.
Whenever
Yeah.
you're about to go into the dark hole of like, is it all working out? Be like, well, then what can I do now to make it work?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's like responding, you know the word apathy. Instead of getting
Yeah.
apathetic, get even more ambitious. Like be like, you know what?
Love.
That's a good idea. Let me be even crazier with my ideas.
Yeah. Use it as fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's really cool.
Yeah. I always like tarots. They always feel good. But you should check out your astrocartography.
Yeah, I would definitely have to check that out and see, and even see if any of the cities that I have lived in were on there. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
like
see.
some good future ones.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
knows? And it works. I'm telling you, it works.
cool. I'll have to check it out. 100%.
But this was a lovely interview. I wish you the best of luck. And it seems like
Thank you.
I don't know if you believe in that stuff or not, but it seems like from your cards, you don't pull like a Knight of Pentacles and a. It's like it's almost like logical. You don't get advice on how to succeed if the success is not there.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I've always believed as well that your success is actually already within you. It's just about figuring out how to tap into that and truly, make it happen. So yeah, that is definitely really cool. And I appreciate your time. And this is a really cool conversation. You picked my brain. It was awesome.
Yeah, yay!
Yeah,
It
I
was
loved it.
lovely.
So
Yeah,
nice.
same. You're so smart. Go forth.
Thank you. I try. I try.
Yay. I'll see you. Thank you so
Super
much.
nice to meet you. Thank you for your
Yeah.
time. Bye.